What's it like traveling in Canada by rail in Via Rail's new trains? Would you just look at it? We're off to Ottawa and we'll check out Via Rail's new and hopefully improved train sets, which you can find on the Toronto-Quebec City corridor. It's a lovely summer's day, so let's enjoy it as we kick things off in downtown Toronto. Good morning and welcome to Toronto. We're back once again outside Union Station, which means it's time for another trip with Via Rail. Since the last time I rode with them, they procured new train cars, so if I plan things right and Via Rail doesn't change anything on us, we should be on one of those for my annual trip up to Ottawa. Last year we went with the business class car, and I wasn't terribly impressed with the product and really don't see the value in it, so I'm going to give Via Rail another year to sharpen the pencils, so we'll be in the standard economy car for today. Train is set to leave at 10:32, so come along as we go from A to B. We begin once again outside the very iconic Toronto landmark, where if you're lucky you'll catch Torontonians doing their morning stretches from their car. If you find yourself here in the summer, the patio outside may be a worthwhile stop on a nice day. With Canadian summers being so short, the value of summer patios is one thing I think we can all agree on. Union Station is the central hub for transportation in the city, connecting the subway, GO Transit regional trains, via domestic service, and Amtrak, which connects to New York. Our train is next on the departures board. Now, since it took me a good 90 minutes to get down to Union, a coffee was in order. Now, an economy ticket won't get you into the Via Lounge, but TD has her own in Union Station, and it's a good stop as any for a coffee, and maybe a cookie while I'm at it. After the quick coffee break, it's time to head to the train. Now, one thing that I should point out is that Union Station has two concourses. The York concourse is for the GO trains, while Via's concourse can be found on the east side of the hall. And just to the left is a poor-looking poster which illustrates the sad state of passenger rail in the country. Sure, I can go here, here, or here, but not there, there, or there. Anyway, we're departing from Gate 16. Speaking of gates, I think Via runs their station operations a bit too much like an airport. Track or platform would probably be a better vernacular. And there must be a better system than having everyone just line up here. Now, I'm not a person to stand in lines if I don't have to, so I walked around and I landed on this little history section, sadly hidden from the crowds in the side corridor. And it nicely displays the role the railway had in the creation of Canada, and highlights the good and doesn't shy away from the negative actions and consequences. And hey, would you look at that? Canada had a train in the 60s capable of Shinkansen speeds. Now, did we refine it and find ways to implement it in our society? Nope. We scrapped it 20 years later. Sad. Shortly after, I headed back to the end of the queue once I saw it was moving, and at non-turbo speeds, I obediently walked single file to the single escalator up to the platform. I mean gate. So I guess this is as good a time as any to welcome new viewers to the channel, and I invite you to subscribe for continued travel and aviation related content. And returning viewers may note I took away the X icon. I haven't really been using it much. I'm finding it too full of political drivel, and at this rate I figure it's going to be a fabric LAN any day with all the threads. We are all the way at the end of the train in car number 5. Track platforms at Union are not very wide, probably has never been widened from its original width, and one day it's going to have to be addressed. Nonetheless, we safely make it on board. There was some confusion with some passenger seats, but everyone was able to figure it out. Now, I booked seat 2D, a rear-facing window seat. But upon arriving at my seat, I saw this passenger occupying it. I didn't speak with him the entire trip, and I gladly took the aisle seat. But I wonder, is the seat signage here ambiguous? Let me know what you think. We managed to have an on-time departure and started to make our way out of the busy downtown. It'll take 4 hours to cover the 430 kilometers between Toronto and Ottawa. Train 40 calls Guilwood, Belleville, Kingston, Fallowfield, and the Ottawa terminal. Car 5 is laid out in a 2-2 seating configuration with 62 grey seats in a bright, refreshing coach. It's the smallest out of the cars in terms of seating, as the end houses the driver's cab for when the train is headed in the opposite direction. The fixed arrangement has seats facing either direction of travel. There's also 4 box seats for passengers traveling in groups or those wishing to make some friends. Monitors down the center aisle provide information related to the train's trip. The center of the car has a luggage hold, and more luggage storage can be found at the end of the car. My end also has the galley, which has the coffee makers, fridges, microwave, and garbage and recycling receptacles. There's also a handy water dispenser for filling water bottles. The grey seats themselves are definitely a step up from the older trains and have a headrest which can be easily moved up or down. When the seat is reclined, the bottom edges out forward about 4 inches, providing increased comfort. And you can see Buddy beside me is starting to cross the border into 2C land, or 2D for him. Seat back has a coat hook off to the side, useful for, well, it's Canada, so any day outside of June, July, and August. Below is a nice sturdy table, and I like the wood appearance over the standard grey tabletop. And under that there's a pocket where you'll find the menu and safety card. Now there isn't too much space here for bags, as you can tell. My 30-liter bag is a bit too much and could have been better placed above. Between the seats you'll find a pair of North American outlets and USB charging ports. And overhead you have access to a personal reading light. Overall, I was very pleased with the upgrade to Via Rail's Economy Hard product. It's fresh, bright, and renewed, and the cars are smoother compared to their older counterparts. The middle cars, 3 and 4, provide more space as they lack the driver's cab and the middle luggage hold. They were not terribly busy this trip, and I would opt for them on future trips. Via Rail provides free Wi-Fi on their trains, and it was easy to connect to. It was fast and reliable throughout the trip. Shortly after leaving Union, there was our first drink service, and like in true airplane fashion, a cart is guided down the aisle. The menu has a variety of items, from snacks to small meals, with a selection of drinks. I decided to keep the caffeine levels up and went with a coffee for this first service.
Your attention please. We've just arrived at Guilwood. Last call for Guilwood.
Our first stop is Guilwood, on the east side of Toronto, to pick up more passengers, and then we start the big stretch to Eastern Ontario.
Kingston Station, la gare de Kingston.
We reach Kingston at 12:50, a city of 130,000 located roughly halfway between Toronto and Montreal, where Lake Ontario flows into the St. Lawrence. It is also the end of the Rideau Canal, which connects Lake Ontario with the Ottawa River.
Your attention, please. For those who joined us in Kingston, welcome on board. Please prepare your boarding pass for validation.
There was one more service on board this trip. With it being afternoon now, I figure it was time for a Caesar, one of my guilty pleasures I enjoy while I'm back in Canada. Chef Andrew was busy this morning creating a nice sandwich before leaving the house, which served me well, though it wouldn't have killed him to toast the bread. I mentioned earlier that the washroom was right beside my seat. I like the design of the washroom with the wood paneling, and the information display is a nice touch. And 4 hours later, we reach Fallowfield, which is the first stop in Ottawa, the nation's capital. You know, I'm pretty impressed with these trains the government invested in. It's a step in the right direction, but we'll see if they continue to refine and improve Via's service. Though I still maintain the stance that a government monopoly on passenger rail service is not a good idea. The new trains are comfortable, and the service on board was nice. I like how passengers can now walk throughout the bright and inviting train with the open passages between the cars. The free Wi-Fi is well received, and the information displays adds to the peace of mind. The cost of this trip came out to $99, but tickets can be much cheaper if bought further in advance. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on Via Rail's new trains, and I'll catch you in the next video.